Hi, I'm Rick Tibbetts. What does it mean to live authentically? Why does it often feel so hard to be our true selves? And what can we do to overcome these obstacles and reach our highest potential? These are the questions I intend to answer in this podcast. Through honest, candid conversation, I'll deconstruct the psychological and societal barriers that keep us from becoming who we're meant to be, and hopefully help you on your journey to live life entirely on your own terms. Welcome to Unlimit Yourself. I'm glad you're here. In this episode, my very first, we're going to be talking a little bit about me, who I am and who I'm not, as well as diving into the purpose of Unlimit Yourself and the positive impact I hope it has on you. This is my first podcast and I'm incredibly excited to get started, so thank you so much for listening, and let's begin. Let's start off with the basics. My name is Rick, or Ricky as many call me. I'm a young professional working as a communications specialist in the Washington, D.C. area. I grew up in Massachusetts, and although I moved around a few times, I spent most of my early years in the town of Tewksbury, Massachusetts. After high school, I went off to college at Syracuse University, where I got a degree in public relations and policy studies. Now, given that brief introduction, you're probably wondering why somebody who might be more inclined to talk about, say, digital communication strategy or politics is hosting a podcast about self-improvement and self-actualization. Well, the answer to that question can be found in the details of my story. I won't go into everything now because I want to reserve deeper discussion for future episodes, but I will say this. I believe that many people fail to reach their full potential or get the help they need out of a fear of being judged or seen as unusual. In my own life, I've always resisted going along with an idea, narrative, or mode of being simply because it coincides with the status quo, majority opinion, or is the quote, cool thing to do. As you can imagine, this attitude led to many instances where I didn't quite fit in, where I was treated as an outcast both at home and among my peers. Before learning tactics and strategies to deal with this challenge, I regularly struggled with self-doubt and a fear of judgment. I, of course, am not the only one who has struggled with these limiting forces. Everybody at one point or another is confronted with the dilemma of trusting their internal compass or potentially alienating themselves by taking a risk or breaking with convention. This is the dilemma I seek to explore in this podcast. Unlimit Yourself will cover a range of topics from challenging societal expectations and fending off peer pressure to dealing with rejection and prioritizing mental health. Now, I want to make clear that I am no guru. I'm not a licensed clinician, psychologist, or therapist. I'm just a guy who's highly passionate about bringing out the best in people, helping them step out of their comfort zone and surpass the limits they too often place on themselves. I also want to make clear that I'm not perfect. I'm a fallible individual who won't always have the right answers. I just hope that what I offer in this podcast helps inspire people to overcome whatever's holding them back. That does it for the inaugural episode of Unlimit Yourself. Today we discussed what the podcast will be and what I hope it provides for you, as well as an introduction to who I am and who I'm not. Feel free to go to my website, richardtibbetts.com, click on the My Podcast page, and leave a comment telling me what you think about this episode and this podcast. New episodes of Unlimit Yourself will air every other Monday wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.